Can you hear me?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, can you see my screen, Diego?
Yes.
Okay, welcome to a fascinating, interesting grammar lesson for you. Okay, today we are talking about conditional sentences in English. Okay, I'm going to go over the basic structure and the meaning of all of conditional sentence in English. Okay, dear student, and this in this first exercise of our lesson, you have to give me your point of view of the video. Okay,
Okay.
wait me a moment.
小安，滴滴滴，哎，这是什么？哇，好漂亮！谢谢小安。你饿了吗？嗯。I hold your laughter safe inside my mind. Sweet moments captured so I can rewind. I'll always have them, so anywhere I fly, I know you'll be by my side. You lift me up when I'm feeling small. Upon your shoulders, I become so tall. And though you raise me high above it all, I have no doubt that you'll catch me if I fall. You give me everything. You see the best in me. No matter where you go, you'll come back home.
It's not my homework. 你要去哪里 I just don't want to be stuck here.
我不管，你哪里都不能去。妈，啊！
Still only learning to say what's in my heart. So when you're hurting, I don't know where to start. And though the words are often hard to find, we still have time to make things right.
Yeah, I'm going Friday.
You give me everything. You see the best in me. No matter where I go, I'll come back home.
Okay.
4:30 on Thursday? Okay, see you then. Hey, Ma. Smells good in here. Ma? Ma? Mom? Are you okay? Mom, what's wrong? Mom? Is that enough, Ma? Mommy? Hey, sweetie. You hungry? Mm-hmm.
Okay, Diego,
Oh my God, it's so sad.
yes, yes.
Qué video tan triste, no puedo creerlo. Okay, I think my point of view about this video is like you'd better make good times with the mm, with with your family, with your fathers. Um, and ¿cómo diría aprovechar?
Or you can or you can say, take care of them for your parents, no, not only your mother, for your parents.
Ajá. Um, and take care of your parents because in any moment they could be no they they must mm, sabría decirlo ellos mm, mm, they must separate no must no
Thank you for your opinion about the okay.
Okay.
Okay. sometimes sometimes it feels like English grammar can be pretty loose. Like yeah, there is some rules, but sometimes they not apply. No, sometimes there is exceptions. I've got two t-shirts. But it is some grammatical structure in English that follow really clear rules, and the structure of the conditional sentences is nice and clear, no? Which makes it easier for you to feel confident about the way that you express your thoughts and your ideas when you speak. A conditional sentence always has a cause and effect. Okay, real conditionals that about the real situations in the present or near future. Okay, I'm going to give you lots of examples to help you understand when to use that and how to use them. Okay, plus I also be talking about how to use conditionals without if. Okay, which is pretty shocking, because if is the start of the conditional sentences, but actually you can use other words in place of if as well. So I'm going to go through all of that right here during this lesson, okay? Let's do a quick check together before we get started. There are five different types of conditional sentences. You know, the basic four. All of these sentences is the same. Okay, we have an if clause and a main clause, and the things that are different about these five types of the conditional sentences relate to time and also to verb tense. Okay, we're going to continue exploring conditionals, which are one of the most interesting and exciting grammar structure in English. I think so. This lesson today is going to help you to expand your understanding of the conditional in English. I think you already know the basics, but today we're going to go a little deeper of for conditionals. We use conditional sentence to explain what actually happens, what could happen. So a possible, okay, a possible and likely outcome in the future. We talk about what we wish could happen. So imagining a different outcome for our present situation. Um, and what might have happened. So thinking about a different outcome that happened in the past. Okay, now there are four types of the conditional sentence. They are all really similar, but they are not the same. If I get sick, I go to doctor. If I get sick, I will go to the doctor. If I got sick, I would go to the doctor. If I had been sick, I would have gone to the doctor. So let's start about what is the same or what's similar about all of these sentences. They all use two clauses to their two parts of two each sentences separated by a comma, and they all use the conjunction if. Just a little reminder that we use conjunctions. Okay, in English, to join two ideas together in one sentence. I ate an apple and two desserts. I like it, but I don't want it. I do it if you drive me to the cinema later. So all of these words are really tiny grammatical words, but they have an important functions, okay? They are connecting two ideas together, and conditional sentences all use if to join two ideas together. And in all conditional sentences, we have an if clause and a result clause. So the if clause is the event or the situation that must happen in order for the other things to happen. So the result can only happen if the if clause occurs and ties white, else called a conditional sentence. A condition is something that you have to do or a situation that needs to exist in order for something else to happen. You can you cannot get just without excusing an orange. There is a really important relationship between these two things. One relies on the other. Okay, now these sentences, they are all quite similar, but there is some really clear difference as well. I mean, check out the verbs. This is where the main difference between these conditional sentences. Yes, all in the verbs. You can see it right. And the meaning is different too. We use each type of sentences in a different situation. If you haven't already noticed, we have the zero conditional, the first conditional, the second conditional, and the third conditional. And I'm going to go through each type of conditional sentences now, one by one, okay? So, let's get started with the zeroed conditional. And I recommend that you take some notes as we go through of these examples. The zeroed conditional is called the factual conditional. If I get sick, I will go to the doctor. So it's possible that in the future I get sick, and if that excuse me, I will probably go to the doctor. So we use if with the present simple and will with our verb infinitive. Another example, if it's hot tomorrow, I'll go for a swim at the beach. Now, I'm sure that it will be hot tomorrow. And if it is hot, it's highly likely that I will go for a swim. And it's one of the easiest to remember because both clauses are in the present simple tense. We have the if clause with the present simple and then the present simple in the main result clause as well. So if this happens, then this is what happens. We use the zero conditional to talk about habits, facts, and truths. You can't argue about these things, right? With these things, we are not talking about a possibility, it's fact. If you put ice in your drink, it melts. It's really simple. The zero conditional talks about the situation of cause and effect. needed always true. We use the simple present in both clauses in the sentences. For example, when I go on vacation, I take a good book with me. Whenever she sees a big dog, she feels nervous. Okay, so I want you to practice by finishing the sentences for me. I want you to write your sentences in the chat so that I can check it. Okay, if I eat, remember the present simple and present simple. Okay. Diego.
Está con el micrófono apagado. ¿Qué pasa, profe?
Okay, now you are going to the write one sentences about this, as you can see it in the presentation, on the presentation. If I eat, please you complete the sentence. The conditional, the zero conditional, okay? Remember que es the present simple and present simple.
Estaba hablando otra vez con el micrófono apagado. ¿Cómo diría lleno? O sea, estoy lleno o algo así.
I fall.
Ah, ok. If I eat too much,
Yes.
I could get full.
Uh-huh. You can continue.
Pero yo digo que esa ya sería toda la oración. I get full. I could get full.
Ajá, si yo estoy lleno, si yo como, ya. Tú solamente dices, si yo como mucho,
Sí. If I eat too much, I could get full. Algo así.
ujú. Okay, bien. One me a moment, please. Bueno, okay. Okay, let's continue with another conditional. Okay, now is the first conditional. Okay. Do you have any question about the last conditional?
No, I think not.
All clear. Okay, Diego. Excellent. Okay. Okay. Now, when we are talking about a situation, of course, in effect, in the present or the near future, that is possible or probable. We use the first conditional. And cause clause of this sentence will always be in the simple present. We have different options to complete the fed clause. Okay, the simple future, you can use moral verbs. For example, can, should, must, have to, okay? For example, if you have some time this afternoon, we will go shopping. If there are any apples left, you can have one. Okay, if it rains, take an umbrella with a few. Okay, the first conditional is real. We use it to talk about things that are possible and likely in the future. In the future outcomes, and there is a likely chance of it happening. So to make the first conditional is simple. We use the present simple verb in our if clause, and we use the future tense well. In our main clause, so we use well along with an infinitive verb, okay? For example, if I missed the bus, I will take a taxi. If they lose the game, they won't go to the finals. If you get too close to the flames, you'll get burned. So notice that with all these examples, these are real, they are possible, and they are likely to happen in the future. Okay. Now, so it's your turn again to finish a sentence. Okay. We leave now. If we leave now, okay, complete that sentences in the chat and feel free to write your own conditional sentence. Okay, okay, Diego.
Tengo que hacer mi propia frase condicional con if we live
Tienes que
now.
completar esta. Tienes que complete the sentences. As you can
Bueno.
see it. Okay.
If we live now, we go. We.
If you have 1 minute for you, if you can't the taking the a keyboard. Okay.
Okay. If we leave now, we couldn't see the end of the movie.
Okay. Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to give you another example. Okay. If we leave now the English classes, we will lose an option English practice course. Okay, now we have the second conditional, and we use it when we want to imagine that the present situation is different. So if I get upset, I could go to the doctor. This is a hypothetical situation, right? It's not real. Uh, do I look sick? I am not sick. I am imagining that the present situation is different for some reason. I imagined that I said, now if that were true, I could go to the doctor. Now, am I really going to the doctor? No, because I'm not actually sick. It's an unreal situation, but to express this in English, we use if with the past simple and then good and the verb infinitive in the result clause. So we use the modal verbs good, okay? Good to show that they were imagining the result. Don't forget that in English, okay? All verbs that follow modal verbs are in the infinitive form. If I had more money, I could buy a boat. Now, it's really common and natural to use contractions in conditional sentences. I could definitely say when I speak naturally. If I had more money, I'd I'd buy it. I bought. Okay. I'd, he'd, you'd, date. Okay, this pronunciation is much more common in spoken English. Okay, we actually have to leave the real where the actual where behind us because mm, although there is a possibility of the result happening. When we use the second conditional, if tells us that the option is quite unlikely. So it's often called the embryal tense. So use the second conditional to talk about imaginary situations in the present. So this is our embryal situations. Mm, we also use it to talk about unlikely future outcomes as well. So it looks like if in the past simple, in our if clause, and then good with the infinitive verbs following in the main clause. For example, if I missed the bus, I could take a taxi. Another example, if they lost the game, they couldn't go to the finals. If you got too close to the flames, you get burned. So now it's your turn again to finish these sentences, okay? If I finished where earlier.
If I finish work earlier, earlier, I I I can go to the home more faster.
Yes, okay. Another example I give you to you. Uh, if I finished where earlier, I could go shopping, okay? Okay. Okay, there are lots or different uses for the second conditional. Remember, remember that we use it to give advice, to give reasons why we can't do something, and generally just imagine the life is different. Okay, these examples look pretty similar to the first conditional examples. Okay, so Mm, with just a couple of little headings, we have thoroughly changed this result to say less likely. Suddenly, we got a set of hypothetical or imaginary situations, and the result, but those results are unlikely to actually happen. Such is the second conditional. Many ideas can be correlated spread in English using both the first and the second conditional sentence structure, but each type of sentences changes the meaning noticeably. Okay, so you really need to be careful about which type of the sentence structure you are using. You got to carefully choose. Okay, so let's look at a couple of examples to help you out. So we got you, if I miss the bus, I will take a taxi. If I missed the bus, I could take a taxi. Now, in the first example, this is real and possible. It's based on an actual situation. Just imagine that you are walking down the street quite quickly, okay, towards the bus stop because it's actually the exact time that the bus is supposed to arrive, and there is a chance is pulling up at the bus stop right now. You are hoping that it's not because you are going to be late otherwise. You still want to make it to wear in tight. But in your head, as you are walking, you are coming up with a backup plan, right? Plan B. Here's what you are going to do. If I miss the bus, I will tell you that. So the situations is based on real life, okay? Real life scenario of sometime that is likely to happen. There is a good chance the the bus has already come to the bus stop and you are not there. But the second example, in the second conditional, totally imaginary. Okay, maybe I've got two plans. I roll to take the bus. Maybe I don't even take the bus to work. Or perhaps I am extremely punctual. I am almost never late to the bus, but for whatever reason, this being this outcome is very likely to happen, and we know that because we are using the second condition. Okay, the grammar structure that you choose influences the meaning of your sentence. Okay, let's do a few more examples. If I run out of butter, I'll just use well. So again, imagine imagine uh, that you are baking and there isn't much butter left. You can beat butter going to the show, so I got a plan. If I run out of butter, I know what I'm going to do, and this is a likely event. If I run out of butter, I just use oil. Now, this is a hypothetical situation. I'm not talking about a specific baking event that's happening now. Um, I'm just talking about very good hypothetically. Okay, do if this ever happened to me? Well, I was waking. I could be given advance. Okay, advance to someone who's asking. If I run out of butter, I just use oil. You won't notice the difference. Okay, if she finds a dog on the street, she'll adopt it. She loves dogs, right? She has plans to adopt a dog. In fact, she is looking for a dog, and there are lots of street dogs in her area. So it's quite likely that if she finds a dog on the street that doesn't have a home, it's quite likely that she'll adopt it. Okay, if she'd found a dog in the street, she'd adopt it. So again, she loves dogs. Perhaps there is actually no many street dogs in her area, which makes the outcome quite unlikely. Okay, if she were taller, she could play basketball. Okay, so this is the second conditional, right? And she's imagining what she could do if she had been more taller, but she hasn't, right? She can't change her height. So this is situation has to be embryonic. So for that reason, be careful because we can't write a version of this in the first conditional. There is there is not a likely chance or likely outcome. Where this good happened, she can't change the way that she is. However, we can make a couple of change to make it possible. We can say you now. If we are talking about a child who is still growing, then it's possible, right? But we might have to change the verb and say if she grows taller, she will play basketball. It's really important to keep in mind the many ideas can be expressed in the first or the second conditional, okay? Depending on the weather. Depending on the weather, they are real or imaginary, but not all ideas can be expressed, okay, in both tenses, all right? So be careful about that, okay? Real versus imaginary. Real versus imaginary. Okay, so Tia, look at these sentences here. It said a conditional sentence. It has two clauses. It has a present tense verb in the first clause. It has where and the base verb in the main clause, but it doesn't have the word if. Okay, it actually doesn't matter. This sentence is still a conditional sentence. Our first conditional sentences, and there are a couple of very specific words that you can use to replace if the first, and also the second conditional sentence. The structure. It's still a conditional sentence, but the word that you choose, of course, has the ability or to change the meaning of your sentences slightly. Unless it rains soon, the lake will dry up, or if it rains soon, the lake won't dry up. Both of these sentences are okay. They're great, but of course the change affects the meaning of our sentences slightly. So we need to be aware of that. Okay, so you can definitely replace if with the word unless, but the meaning is slightly different. It means if no or except if. You can use unless in the first and the second conditional sentences structure, but it can be used to talk about past situations that can be changed, right? So you can use unless in the third conditional sentences structure. Check out some examples. She apologizes, I will not forget here. Unless it gets below 0 degrees, the water won't freeze. Unless they fire me, I wouldn't leave the company. Okay. Besides, unless, and we and if we can also use an as long as, which is really useful if you want to set a let me or a condition on the expression. So this is like saying if and only if the conditional happens. So if the condition doesn't happen, then the result is not possible or is not allowed. As long as is actually used with the first conditional because is used when the result is expected. For example, as long as I get time of where I'll come for a visit. As long as it's not too crowded, we'll stay for dinner. As long as he finished his homework, he'll join you at the skate park. Okay, we've got one of more option to replace if with that is using supposing or supposing that. So using supposing that helps the listener to imagine a situation. So it's really similar to using if, but just vera extravagant. Okay, to really tell the listener that you want that to imagine. Turn on the imagination. Now it can be used in either the first of the second conditional, but it's much more comfortable in the second conditional for sure because you are imagining, right? Okay, supposing I can change my flight, I can a few days earlier. Supposing you got a huge Christmas bonus, could you go on a holiday? Okay. Okay. Okay, this one talked about the past and specifically an unreal past, not a true past, an unreal one. We use the third conditional to imagine a situation in the past and the imaginary result, which is also in the past. Okay, so it's imaginary, is not real, it's not truth. Okay, because we can change the past. Sometimes we wish we could, but we can't. So that's why you often hear the third conditional being used to talk about regress. Okay, means that we wish we're different. So let's look at a few examples to get started. If I had left earlier, I wouldn't have missed my flight. So I'm a bit upset about that, right? I am upset I missed my flight. I wish that I have left my house a little bit early and not run late. I wish that I could you back in time and be on the plane, but I can't because my flight gone. There is nothing that I can do about it now, except buy another ticket. Well, we can use the tier, okay, conditional to show how angry or how frustrated we are about the situation. Okay, now look, if you hadn't been so rude, they would have invited you back. You were rude. Obviously, now they're not going to invite you back again in the future. You can go back and change. Now can be you, whether you want to or not. If I hadn't been going too fast, I wouldn't have been fined. Yeah, I got fined, which is annoying, but it's already happened. I can change it now. Okay, that's something you definitely can change. So we use the theories conditional to talk about things that we regret, things that we wish we could change about the past, and also, okay, also to tell someone of, okay, for something that they did in the past. So to make the third conditional, we need a few things. We need if in the past. Perfect. Then we need a comma and then we need the perfect conditional. You might be wondering that what is the past perfect or the perfect conditional. Okay, so the amount is this way. The past perfect, remember, a subject with had in the past participle verb. Okay, for example, if I had left early, if you hadn't been so rude, if I hadn't been going so fast. Okay, are all examples of the past perfect. This is just reminding you a little about this topic. Now the perfect conditional is subject with would have and the past participle verb. So it's just the present perfect with would in front of it. For example, I couldn't have missed my flight. They would have invited you back. I couldn't have got that ticket. So let's put the third conditional all together. We need if the subject had in the past participle. Then the comma, very important, followed by the subject, would have, and the past participle. Okay, participle. That's the third conditional. So let's look up some examples. And the third conditional is the past and real conditional. I've mm, if I had been sick, I would got gone to the doctor. We use this structure to imagine a different past, difference to the one that actually happened, right? We use if with the past perfect and good have with the past participle, okay? Just to be clear, the if clause did not actually happen, but I am imagining the result if the past was different. So in the situation, was a realistic. I am not talking about what actually happened. I'm talking about what could have happened in the past, but didn't, and what I could have done if that have happened. When you regret something in the past, something that happened in the past, and you wish that result was different. If we had looked at the weather report, we could have stayed home. Okay, if you had called me, I could have come. No, you didn't call, so I didn't come. I wish that I could change this because I love to come. If she had replied to my message, I couldn't have been so worried. I wish that she has so that I didn't have to worry. If I had taken better care of myself, I wouldn't have got sick. So I am expressing regret about the past year. I wish I'd taken better care of myself. Okay. Okay, now we can actually use different modal verbs in the main clause. So we can replace could had with other modals like might and could. So we use might have to show probability or certainty if, for example, if she studied more, she might have passed. But she might have also failed again. We are not sure. We are not certain. Okay? If we were certain about the imaginary result in the past, then we will use would have. That's more certain. Since we are not absolutely sure about what the result would have been, then using might have is probably the better option. Okay, now we use could have to talk about possibility and ability. If you have learned, tell me, Diego. Uh,
Profe, está con el micrófono apagado, profe.
Thank you, Diego. Okay, let's continue with the clause. Okay, now we use could have to talk about the possibility and ability. Okay, if you had lent me your car, I could have got it faster. Now I'm just saying that I could have been able to get there faster. You know, with a car, I could have the ability to arrive sooner. Okay. Okay. It's your turn now. Remember the structure. Okay. Let's do it. If I had,
If I had hungry, o no, como diría, hambre, hunger, hunger.
no. See, this is the there's conditional. Remember the structure.
¿Cómo?
Recuerda la estructura, cómo se forma o cómo es formado el conditional. ¿Sí te acuerdas?
No, profe.
Primero, bueno, if, luego va el past perfect, que es had, ¿no? Y luego podría ir good had, y el verbo tiene que ir en past participle, ¿ok? Por
Entonces,
ejemplo,
¿cómo?
if I had been sick, I could have gone to the doctor. This is an example.
Entonces este sería, if I had, pero ¿cómo diría? If I had, ¿cómo diría? Hambre, si tuve hambre.
This is one new moment. Si yo tuviera hambre, tienes que, si yo he estado, entonces, si yo he tenido, cambiaría ahí. If I had.
If I had hungry, ¿cómo diría, profe?
Ok, si estás hambriento, ¿no? Sería,
Sí.
¿estarías tú?
Sí.
Harías ay, se me olvidó el verbo en the past participle, ¿no?
Sí.
¿Sí? Hungry, que se escribe H, U, M, G, R, I. Ay, igual mismo. Acá la
Sí.
batería.
Ok.
Ah, 3 meses. Can you see my screen, Diego?
Nada, profe.
Okay. Y recuerda que en la segunda siempre va good have, ¿ok?
Sigue sin verse la pantalla, profe.
Ah, ok, ahorita. ¿Ya hiciste la oración?
Nada, uno, quiero saber cuál es el verbo en pasado de hungry, de hambriento.
Yo te lo dije.
¿Sí?
Sí, yo te lo dije.
¿Cómo era? ¿Cómo era?
Te lo voy a enviar por el chat, espera, por el chat de Teams.
Ah, ok. ¿Por el chat de Teams?
Sí, ya te lo envío. Sí, puedes mirar el chat.
No, profe, no me deja meterme al chat.
Entonces espera, voy a buscar el WhatsApp.
Ok. Ah, es igual.
¿No?
Entonces, if I had hungry, I will take food. I will take food.
Ajá.
Ya sería eso. If I had hungry, I
Si
would
tuviera
take
hambre, ahí sería, ¿no? Si tuviera hambre, quedaría.
sí, if I had hungry, I would get a food. Take a food, digo.
Ok. Ok. Okay. It's very important to know about when to use the zero and the first conditional. Okay. This type of the grammar lesson might sound serious, but learning to use conditionals effectively is going to help you to express yourself clearly and be really creative with English. Conditionals are really common native, okay? Because native speakers use them all the time. So if you start paying attention, you are definitely going to notice the sentence structure as you are reading and even as you are listening to. Okay, now we are going to focus on the zero conditional and the first conditional again, and we'll talk about how they are different but very important. It's very essential when you should use one or the other. So I'm going to assume that you know most of the basis about the conditional sentences. If you study grammar, it gets easier. If you practice every day, you will improve. If I live in an English speaking country, I could be fluent. If I had known how useful English was for my career, I could have paid more attention to advanced school. So each of these sentences has an if clause and a main clause, but there are some differences between that, especially with verb sentences and the time references. And all of this changes the meaning. Oh, one of the is a fact. Another is about the present, but it's an unreal present. Another is about an imaginary past. Okay. Now we are going to focus on these two, the series and the first conditional. The series conditional is also called the factual or the real conditional because we use it to tell about truths and facts, things that are real in the world. We also use it to tell about habits and rules and to give exceptions that are the result of something else happening first. So, in other words, if this happens, then this is the result always. It's a fact. It's the truth. It's just how it is what happens. Okay, we use the present simple in both clauses. If the zero conditional, you can use if there if, or went in the if clause, and the meaning with either words is pretty similar, but we use if when there is a chance that the action will happen, or it might not happen as well, okay? If it doesn't happen, then we know exactly what the result will be. So I work at, and the result is pretty obvious. When I do work out, I feel healthier. I feel better about myself. It's true, but that doesn't mean that I do it all the time, right? I don't always feel healthy, especially if I don't work out. We use when we know for sure the action is going to happen. We might not know exactly when it's going to happen, but we know that it will, okay? When I work out, I feel healthier. So I've removed the possibility that is not going to happen. There is no question. I will work out. The specific time doesn't matter. We just know that is going to happen in the future. So it's a sort of difference. And the same difference actually applies in the first conditional. We can use if or when as well in the first conditional. Back to the forming the zero conditional. Let's look at a few examples. When the sun says X gets dark, if you leave milk out, it spoils. If the power goes out, we can't watch TV. So this are all facts and truths. Okay. Now, what about the sentences? In the winter is cool. The sentences is a fact. He has the present simple verb, but it's not a conditional sentence. Can you tell me why? Okay, Diego, think about it. Wait me a moment, okay?
Okay, teacher.
Okay, Diego, tell me. The first sentences.
¿Qué tengo que hacer?
Okay. Look at the first sentences. In winter it's cold. This sentences is a fact. Okay, it has the present simple. Yes, see, yeah. It has the present simple there, but it's not a conditional sentence. Can you tell me why?
Tengo que decir por qué hace frío en invierno.
Tienes que decirme por qué, o sea, bueno, como les dije, la frase o la oración tiene un verbo presente simple, pero no es una oración condicional. Entonces, ¿me puedes decir por qué no es una oración condicional?
Porque no tiene el presente perfecto.
These sentences doesn't have two clauses, okay? It's only the first phrase. It is a fact. We don't have the condition and the result. Only it's just a present simple, okay? But what about now? If it's cold, light the fire. Now we got a conditional and the result. And this is a good example of how the receiver conditional can be used to give instructions. And I am using the imperative for to do that, okay? Okay, we also add the series conditional to talk about the rules. For example, children can sue if an adult is windowed. And we use it to talk about habits. If it's hot, okay? I go to the beach, this is something that I usually do. It's a habit, right? It happens often. Can use, in all of these examples, that the two separate parts of the sentences are connected. We are stating a fact or a truth in the main clause, but it's only possible in the condition that the if clause occurs. So now we know that the series conditional is the factual or of the real conditional. Okay, it's also called the possible conditional. Now we are not talking about facts anymore, okay? These there are absolutely 100% the percent truth. Now we are talking about the possible future result. They might happen, but they might not happen as well. So uptight when you are thinking about what's possible in the future, we can use it to talk about predictions, superstitions, plans, promises, offers, suggestions, and warnings. Okay, like there is a lot of different ways that we can use the first conditional, right? So all of these things talk about what is likely to happen in the future. A likely outcome, so in the first conditional, we are not just using the present simple anymore because we are talking about the future. In the if clause, we still use a present simple verb. But in the main clause, we use the future tense. Well, if this thing happens, then this is well likely happened. It will probably happen. We can't be absolutely sure. You think so? If you don't eat now, you'll be hungry later. If she doesn't call, I'll be annoyed. In just like in the series conditional, we can still use if or when in the if clause, and if depends on how sure we are that something is going to happen. And when tells us very confident that the option in the if clause is going to happen in the result in the main clause is the most likely outcome. When the sun sets, it will get cold. Okay, now what about the sentence? If aliens arrive on Earth, I will greet them. Now, I'll give you a clue. There is something not quite right about the sentences. Something about it sounds strange, but it has a present simple verb and well with the base verb alone. So if lose right, but this is not a possible situation. Well, no really, but this is more a hypothetical situation, right? So it could be better to use the second condition of to talk about this hypothetical situation. Okay, so we thought about the zero conditional. We thought about the first conditional, but what's the difference between them? Let's take a look. If you leave the milk out, is spoiled. If you leave the milk out, it well spelled. Which one's correct? They're both correct. They're both possible. But choosing to use the zero on the first conditional does change the meaning of the sentences a little. So in the first sentences, we are stating a general fact. It's all right in general in life, and any moment when you leave milk out or the friendship spoils. So I might use the zero conditional to explain to a child that the milk spoils when it's not in the fridge, right? The child didn't know that the fact beforehand. I am telling that so that they know in the future when you use the first conditional sentences. I am telling you about the possible outcome based on the current situation. So it's like advice or warning about the present situation, something that is specific. Okay, so imagine that you've just made a coffee. You left the milk on the bench, and then you've gone off, okay, to the living room to watch some telly. So I am using the first conditional now to warn it or remind you about what might happen if you don't put the milk in the fridge. Okay, so I'm not telling you a general life lesson or a fact about life. You probably already know the main spoils, but I am giving you as a suggestion or a reminder that you should put it in the fridge. Okay, now look at a few more comparisons. When the sun sets, it gets cold. Compared to when the sun sets, it will get cold. So I am using this year conditional again to talk about the general fact. All around the world, the general, it gets colder when the sun sets. But if you are about to leave the house and you are wearing just a t-shirt, it might be a little bit worried that you are going to get cold, then I might use the first conditional sentences to remind you that, okay? In a few hours when the sun sets, it's probably going to get cold and maybe you should bring a jacket. Let's try one more. If she doesn't call, I annoy it. If she doesn't call, I will annoy it. So in the first situations, the zero conditional is used because it's something that happens. She often doesn't call, and every time in annoyed. Every time she doesn't call, I am annoyed is a really general statement about how I feel on in uh, many options. Okay. And the first conditional example, I'm talking about a specific phone call. Maybe I'm waiting for a colleague to call, and waiting for some information that I need to finish writing my report by the deadline. And and she promised to call me this afternoon. So I'm not talking about her general calling habits. I don't always get annoyed with her, but I'm talking about the right now in this moment. You know, I am worried that my call is not going to call, and I'm just expressing that is really annoying because I am trying to finish my report. Okay, miss conditionals help you to move through time. So a past options with a present result. A key idea when we use mixed conditional is time, and don't confuse time with verb tense. So, of course, we use different verb tenses to express different times. That's true, but time and tense as are not always the same thing. So, if you take a look at a couple of sentences, I had a dog when I was a child. She was cleaning all the day yesterday. So, are these two sentences using the same verb tense? The first one is the past simple, and the second one is the past continuous. They are not using the same tense, but they are referring to the same time. They both take place in the past, so they have the same time reference. And like I said earlier, mixed conditional are conditional sentences that use two different times and they help us to move between two times. So the if clause and the main clause in a mixed conditional sentences have different times that work together. So we take a look at an example. If I had woken up earlier, I couldn't have met the bus. So both these clauses take a place in the past, okay? I am talking about this morning, yesterday, morning, or some other morning in the past, and the result that I missed the bus also happened in the past. So I already missed the bus. I can't change that now. So let's change the sentences a little to make it a mixed conditional. To do that, we need one of the clauses to be in a different state. So the if clause is happening in the past. So let's make the main clause about the present. If I have woken up earlier, I could be aware already. I couldn't have met the bus, so I could be aware already now in the present. So now we've got a mixed conditional sentence. One clause refers to a past option and the other refers to the present. They are at a few different ways that we can do this. You can mix and match several tenses and times together to make them a mixed conditional sentences. But I want to focus on the two most common combinations. So a past option and a present result, which is just the example that we just look at, and then a present condition and a past result. So remember, in both of these sentences, we are talking about something that's embryoned. In the first, we are talking about changing a past option and the hypothetically present result that could happen, but it can't happen because we can't change the past. Okay. In the second, we imagined that the present we are different. So to create the first one, we need the past perfect in the if clause and the present conditional in the main clause. So if these things had happened, then nothing good happen. If I had saved more money, I could own this house. If you hadn't taken the job, we could be traveling together. If they had paid more attention, they wouldn't be failing in class. And don't forget the lie or conditional. You can change the order of the if clause and the main clause. These things could happen. If this thing happens, so you can swap the order of the clauses. But all of the information is still there. I would go on this house if I had saved more money. We still had a hypothetical past option in the if clause and the hypothetical present result in the main clause. Okay, the other coming makes conditional sentence is a present condition and a past result. So this is an in real present condition to imagine what the result could have been in the past, but we never really know because this is imagining, right? So imagine if this thing happened, then this could have happened. We are talking about the present condition, but we are using the past simple tense in the if clause, but that's not a real past. This is how we use it. We use the second condition to express a hypothetical present situations. If I were more outgoing, I could have introduced myself. Okay? Okay, it's now to practice. Now you're going to complete the sentences with the correct forms of the verbs in brackets. Okay? Okay, Diego?
If my friends... Espera un momento, profe.
Okay.
Yeah, if my friends... O sea, lo tengo que decir en pasado. Lo de to come.
Bueno, te voy a ayudar. Esas frases,
Sí.
bueno, ¿o tú qué piensas que son?
Son los verbos.
Sí, pero ¿qué podría, mirando las oraciones, cuál condicional podría ser el que va con ellos?
Será el... ¿Cómo que se llama? ¿Cómo que se llama? Second conditional.
Ujú. Entonces, ¿cómo quedaría la primera?
If my friends coming.
Y la segunda clause.
I've been.
I will,
¿Cómo? I were.
will, o sea, futuro.
I were.
I will be, ¿no?
I would be very happy.
Very happy. Yes.
Okay.
Wait a moment.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, the first one is calm. And the second is I will wear. The second one,
If she earned.
else. Ajá. Como está en presente, recuerda que se aumenta ¿qué?
Se aumenta con un ed.
No, está en presente. If she Air.
Earns.
Se agrega una es. Ay,
Ah, sí.
agrega una es. Okay.
She earns
Ah,
a lot of money. She would fly.
ajá. We are flying. Very good. Okay. The first phrase.
If you wear sandals in the mountains,
You
you could sleep.
will. We will
You will. Sí, sí, sí.
sleep. Okay. The four number.
If Rita forget her homework,
Yes. Yes.
the teacher,
Oh, me dañó el teclado. Se me dañó el número de la S.
rayas.
Se imprimió. Allá. Ok.
The teacher will give her a low mark.
Ujú. Ok. Number 5.
If the sun shines,
Shines.
shines.
Ah, what happened?
Ay, estoy viendo muchas veces.
Porque que, we are
I will walk into town.
okay. Another samples.
If I if I meet Brad Pitt, I will ask for his autograph.
Is the
Meets.
another conditional.
Oh, sería if I meet.
If I met,
Met.
okay, Brad Pitt, I could ask.
I would ask. Okay, I would ask for his autograph. El otro sería if we won the lottery,
Yes, uh-huh. One,
we would fly to San Francisco.
very good. Excellent. Okay, number 3.
If they if they had
Yes. At.
they they would buy a new car. Okay. El de abajo sería if Susan studied.
Mhm.
Harder she will be better at school.
Good. Okay, number 5.
El otro es if he been.
No.
Mm. He- If he was.
Perfect.
Okay, if he was my friend, I would invite him to my birthday party.
Mhm. Okay. Another phrase.
Okay, if they waited, este es igual como en el pasado.
If they had
If they had waited,
for another 10 minutes,
if they had waited for another 10 minutes, they they, they had seen they had seen
they good.
they they would see.
Okay. They good.
They would they would have seen. Okay.
Sí. Number 2.
If we had to go,
Go. 2, no.
if we had go,
To a good restaurant.
go to a restaurant, we we would have
Yes. Would have. ¿Verdad?
a better dinner.
Good have had. Okay.
Who
Good
would have
have had.
okay,
A
okay.
better dinner. Okay. 3. Number 3.
If the boys had
If the boys
take take the bus to school,
taken
taken, sí, sí, sí. The routes to scout, they they would have they would arrive on time.
they would have right.
They would have arrived on time. Okay.
Number 4.
If the weather has been,
Yes. Perfect. Have been. Have been.
mm, they would play football.
Have played. Sorry. Football. And number 5.
If you had both both fish, green vegetable, your salad would have would, would have would have had I know
Have,
have have taste better.
have taste. Okay? Tasted better. Okay, very good.
Uh-huh.
Okay, now please, you can to make or to do 3 sentences of the first conditional. Only three: the zero conditional, and the first conditional, and the second, and the first conditional. Okay, only three. Okay, by one.
Profe,
Jenny.
¿qué pasó? ¿Tengo que decir algo?
Sí, tienes que escribir. Eso te
Tengo que
dije.
hacer. Es que no alcancé a escuchar.
Tres oraciones
Ah,
por
3 oraciones.
cada sentence, por cada conditionals. The
Ok,
first conditional, the zero, the first, the second, and third conditional. Only three for that.
o sea, uno para cada uno o 3 para cada uno.
Tres para cada uno.
Ay, bueno, voy. Profe, ¿me deja ver un momento las diapositivas de arriba? De la práctica. Practice.
Diego, ¿cuál? ¿Estas?
Sí, sí, sí. Y la de arriba también, por fin. Listo, profe, ya era eso.
Perfecto. Ok, Diego, lee, por favor. Can you read your conditional sentences, please?
Ok, ok. Ya mandé las primeras tres, ya voy por las otras.
Ah, ok.
Profe, ¿puede poner la tercera también?
Bueno,
Listo, profe, ya era eso. Gracias.
cuando termines las puedes leer, ¿listo?
Ok, ok. Ya las tengo, profe.
Ok, puedes leerlas, por favor.
Okay. If you buy this new car, I will take a ride with you. If they wears new clothes, I will do it too. If I forgot my keys in my house, I will search in your house. If I met a new friends, they would be angry. If my friends punish me, if my parents punish me, my friends would be laugh. If your friend laugh, they will found us. If they had gone to a famous restaurant, they would have to be formal. If I had more money, I would have to pay more taxes. If you had fun with date, you would have to be her friend.
Yes. Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Okay, now it's time to evaluate your learning. Okay, your knowledge.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
No, teacher.
Oh, okay. One more moment. Okay. Tell me, A, B, or C?
I take a pill.
A.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Number two.
We will go on vacation if we will save.
C or A?
Mm,
What is the
if
letter?
we save. Yes. If you were nicer, I would go out.
A, B, or C?
La B, B.
Creo que sí.
Debo ser- ah, eh, bueno, sí, el que sea, no importa. She afraid job if she finishes her degree. She will have.
No sé, no lo trajo.
Okay.
De pronto que está, de pronto es que lo tuvimos que dejar allá. De pronto. Ah, sí, lo dejamos allá.
When it rains, I use my umbrella.
Okay, the A or B.
La A.
Lo estaba viendo como un humano. Es que este gato no me para de sorprender. Miradle la cara, metida completamente en un vaso de agua. Mira, hola, ¿estás ahí dentro? Ah, sí, estabas ahí dentro. Perdón, es que no te había visto mal. Sí, llevas, pero eres Coca-Cola. Y vuelvo a la habitación y encuentro esto, algo extraño, con unos pies doblados en el sofá y un iPhone debajo. ¿Quién podría ver aquí dentro? Un cadáver.
We will call. Call.
B.
B. Yes.
Bienvenidos a un nuevo vlog. Ahí tenemos a los chavalitos y vamos a ir, como digo, a ver las casas. Ahora, obviamente, no lo voy a grabar porque de eso se trata. Estamos ahí andando hacia, no sé, Rubikex no viene porque, bueno, estaba, ya habéis visto cómo. Y nada, ya me están llevando a ver una de las posibles nuevas casas, así que después os cuento. Y ya. Tranquilo, chicos. Ya me tengo.
She always buys us restaurant if she had.
Hat.
Yes.
Diego. Can you hear me?
Sí, profe, la A.
A. Okay. Has.
There are.
Where?
If I could, if I la B, B.
Ah, toca rápido, se fue velocidad. Where is the correct answer?
La. Eso.
Okay. Okay. Okay, one more.
Okay.
Diego.
La B.
It's rude.
Esta sí es true. Yes. Esta creo que es second conditional.
What is the correct structure of the conditional theory?
Es creo que es la C.
Are you sure?
Ah, no, la.
Okay.
To you. Es... Sí, pues. Es la B.
Okay, very good. Okay, Diego. This is our last lesson. Okay, thank you very much for your time and for your dedication in all my classes. It was a pleasure to have been. Okay, a pleasure to have been your teacher. To have really been very dedicated and very respectful students. I wish you the best in your learning process after a years. Okay. See
Thanks,
you for
teachers.
tomorrow for the speaking evaluation. Okay. Take care. Have a nice day.
Ok, profe, ¿será que me puede mandar lo que tengo que hacer mañana por WhatsApp?